Hello everyone. So today we shall see about the system characterization. So we have seen in the previous lectures that the system is characterized either by the impulse response of the system or by a linear constant coefficient difference equation. So that difference equation is basically defined by summation of k is equal to 0 up to n aky of n minus k is equal to summation from k is equal to 0 to m bk x n minus k. Okay, so we had seen earlier that how to compute the z transforms, how to compute the discrete time Fourier transform, how to compute the region of convergence. So we shall dwell a bit into this difference equations, and we shall study some basic properties of the system. So all these things, whatever we shall see now, it would be later useful for computational structures for realizing such systems, because these are some difference equations are given to you, or you will obtain such kind of difference equation from a given system. But how to realize for a given difference equation, what would be the computational structures for them? And second, there are some coefficients, some parameters here you are saying, which are ak and bk, n number of k a and m number of b in this generic difference equation. So we shall see later also some procedures for obtaining these parameters, so that if we want to approximate some desired frequency response, then what should be the uh, these AKs and BKs, right? So let's see very quickly that when we apply the Z transform onto this difference equation, we had seen that you obtain some h of z as the rational function of yz over xz, and from the above difference equation you can express them as k is equal to 0 to m bk z to the power minus k divided by k to 0 to n ak z to the power minus k. Okay, there is an equivalent representation also. If you take the a naught and b naught coefficients outside, then you can also express them as b naught over a naught. So you have in multiplication of all these functions from k1 to n, and the polynomial function is 1 minus some other coefficient, some parameterized coefficient ck, and sorry, the in the above we would have m, sorry, we would have m, and in the denominator we have from k is equal to 1 to n of the polynomial 1 parameterized in terms of the parameter dk. Okay, dk is z inverse. Okay, so here you have as the summation, here you have the multiplication of all these polynomials. Okay, so once we have computed this h of z, so given any input signal x of n and with its z transform x of z, then you can compute y of z as equal to the multiplication of h of z and x of z. Okay, and the only assumption we had seen for while writing this equation is that the system should be a linear time invariant system. Okay, but there are other important properties such as stability and causality, which we have not yet discussed so far. So if you recall that when you write the Z transform, there is some region of convergence. You also need to define the region of convergence. So for the given difference equation, you can compute its Z transform to yield the system function. Let's say the system function in the frequency domain, and it would be algebraic, right? Similar to your difference equation. But what you will not get the ROC, okay? And also another point that this difference equation not uniquely specify the impulse response, not uniquely specify the impulse response. Right? Now if the system is causal, if the system is causal, then what property we had studied for the causality, that your Hn, then your the function h of n must be a right-sided sequence, and for right-sided sequence the ROC must be outside the outermost pole, right? So this is about when your system is causal, your Hn must be a right-sided sequence and the ROC of Hn outside of the outermost pole. Now if the system is stable, if system is stable, then the property what we had studied, that the impulse response must be absolutely summable. That is, then what you have for n from minus infinity to infinity, the modulus of this function Hn should be bounded. Okay, or what you can say, that for n minus infinity to infinity, your modulus of h of n z to the power minus n is less than infinity for mod z equal 1. Okay, so now you can see clearly that the condition for stability is equivalent to the condition that the ROC of h of z includes the unit circle, and this is what we had analyzed earlier as well. Okay, so let's consider one quick example which will give you more insight of these two basic but important properties. So in the example, let's consider the difference equation given as y of n minus 5 by 2 y of n minus 1 plus y of n minus 2 is equal to x of n. Okay, so for this difference equation, you can compute the h of z as 1 upon 1 minus 5 by 2 z inverse plus z minus 2. So this is when you write the h of z as the summation, but if you use the multiplication operator or the multiplication of polynomial, then you can factorize it. So the denominator would become 1 minus 1 by 2 z inverse and 1 minus 2 z inverse. Okay, so seeing the location of the poles of this rational function, or what we call the transfer function, there are three possible choices of ROC. So let's see. So in the complex Z plane, so if I draw this unit circle, and one pole is located at 1 by 2 and another pole is located at 2. Okay, so now there are three regions. One region uh, which lies between these two pole locations, another region which lies for greater than the outermost pole, and the next region which is inside this innermost pole. Okay, so let's see three possible choices of ROCs. So when you want your system to be causal system, then the ROC should be your mod z greater than 2. Okay, because it is the outside of the outermost pole, and the outermost pole is located at 2. But since it does not include the unit circle, so the system is not stable if you want your system to be causal. But let's say if you want your system to be stable, then for that you need the ROC as an annulus. That is, your ROC should lie between 1 by 2 and 2. So if you have this, because it should include the unit circle, and only with this region the unit circle would be included. But since it's an annulus, your h of n will be a two-sided sequence, and for causality your h of n should be a right-sided sequence. So if you want your system to be stable, in that case it is not causal. Okay, the third region, let's say the third region which is the inside of the innermost pole. So for this your h of n would not be a right-sided sequence, and the unit circle would not also be included. So neither stable nor causal. So both the properties won't be satisfied for this example. Okay, so the idea behind seeing this example is that the stability and causality are not inherently implicated properties of a system. Okay, it depends on how what properties do you want to extract from the given difference equation. Right? Let's see the inverse system now. So given the rational function h of z, you can define an inverse system such that if for the given h of z you multiply another rational function which we, let's say, define hi of z, then it should be equal to 1. Okay, or in the frequency domain your g of n would be equal to h of n convolved with hi of n, which would be equal to delta of n. Okay, this is the definition of the impulse response. Of course, since we are considering the scalar rational function, so in that case you can define your hi of z as 1 upon h of z. So you can compute for the given h of z. This is for the z transform, and for the discrete time Fourier transform it would be h of e to the power j omega. Now again the question rises, what would be the ROC of hi of z even if the ROC of h of z is given to you? Hmm? So to compute the ROC of hi of z, first of all what you need to understand that for this equation to hold, okay, the ROC of h of z and the ROC of hi of z must overlap. because if their ROCs do not overlap, then you cannot convolve them. Okay. So now see what would be the impact of causality, or let's on the inverse system. So say for example, if your H of Z is a causal system, so its ROC, like we have defined, it would be the outside of the outermost pole. So in a compact way, you can define mod of Z greater than the outermost pole would be the maximum of dk over k. Okay, so mod of Z should be greater than maximum of dk over k, where your H of Z, let's write it once again, b naught over a naught, multiply operator for k is equal to 1 to m 1 minus ck Z inverse by multiply operator k1 to n 1 minus tk Z inverse. Okay, so thus any ROC for HI of Z that overlaps with the above region is a valid ROC for HI of Z. Clear up to this point? So let's see one quick example to visualize this thing. So we shall consider two examples. So in the first example, we consider your H of Z as 1 minus 0.5 Z inverse and 1 minus 0.9 Z inverse, where the ROC is given by mod Z greater than 0.9. Okay, so the system is causal because there is only one pole located at 0.9 and the ROC is mod of Z greater than 0.9. Okay, so if I straightforwardly use the above formula for computing the inverse of this function, so HI of Z would be 1 minus 0.9 Z inverse 1 minus 0.5 Z inverse, right? It's just the inverse of the above rational function. So you see that in the inverse function also you have one pole located at 0.5. So again so with this one pole there are two possibilities now for the ROC. Yeah, either it should be greater than 0.5, mod Z should be greater than 0.5, or mod Z should be less than 0.5. Yeah, mod Z should be less than 0.5 or mod Z greater than 0.5. So among these two possibilities, you see that if you choose this ROC, then only you would see an overlap between the ROC of both the functions. With this it won't, but with this it does overlap. Okay, so computing the inverse or computing the HI of n with this ROC, then you would have 0.5 raised to the power n un minus 0.9 0.5 raised to the power n minus 1 un minus 1. I have not discussed in detail about the computation of the inverse Z transform because we had seen in the earlier lecture that for the given rational function with its ROC, how you can compute the inverse Z transform. Okay, so for this HI of Z, you see your system is causal and stable because your ROC is the right sided sequence mod Z greater than 0.5. This is the outside of the outermost pole, so it is causal, and with this ROC the unit circle would also be included, so it is stable. So the inverse of this H of Z is stable and causal. Okay, so let's see the second example where your h of z is now contains a 0. So we have z inverse minus 0.5 and 1 minus 0.9 z inverse. Again the ROC remains the same, greater than 0.9. Okay, computing the hi of z, you would have 1 minus 0.9 z inverse and z inverse minus 0.5, or simplifying this expression you would get minus 2 plus 1.8 z inverse and 1 minus 2 z inverse. Okay, so again we have only one pole of this inverse system, so there are two possibilities for the ROC, either mod z greater than 2 or mod z less than 2. So now the interesting thing here is that both the ROCs overlap with this ROC. This ROC and this ROC overlaps with this ROC. Some section of these two possible choices overlaps with the above mod z greater than 0.9. Okay, so let's see that what are the properties in terms of the stability and causality of this inverse system with respect to these two ROCs. So when you have mod z less than 2 as an ROC, then your Hi, let's call it 1, of n is 2 raised to 2 raised to. I'm just writing this for your reference. You can also try to compute by yourself for this given ROC. U minus n minus 1 minus 1.8 2 raised to the power n minus 1 u minus n. Okay, so this is mod z less than 2. So when you have this mod z less than 2, you see that the system is not a causal system, right? So not causal, but it is stable because mod z less than 2 includes the unit circle. Now if we choose the ROC mod z greater than 2, you have hi2 of n is equal to minus 2 2 raised to the power n. Okay, so mod z greater than 2, it is causal, obviously, but it is not stable, right? Because the unit circle is not included. So what do you observe from these two examples? So if h of z is a causal system with some zeros at ck for k 1 to m, then its inverse hi of z will be causal if and only if we associate the ROC of hi of z as mod z greater than the maximum of ck over k. And this is what we had seen because it does contain a 0. Right? And the 0 is located at 2 in h of z. But when we see in the inverse, of course it becomes a pole. So it should be, for the causality, it should be greater than the maximum of the or the outer of the outermost pole. Yeah. So this is an if and only if condition. Now, if we the second point is if we also require that the inverse system is be stable, then the ROC of hi of z must include the unit circle, in which case you would have the whatever be the outside the outermost pole, it should be less than 1. Yeah, or let's say the outermost pole would be, because ck would be the pole, the 0 of h of z, and then it becomes the pole of the inverse system, So maximum of Ck over K should be less than 1. So in that case it would be stable and causal also. And for this is for the stability, huh? And for causality, what do we want? That mod of Z should be greater than maximum of mod Ck, sorry, Ck over K for causality. That is, so this stability condition requires that all zeros of h of Z must be inside the unit circle. So an LTI system is stable and causal. So let's say if the LTI system is stable and causal, and you want its inverse to be stable and causal also, it is possible if and only if both the poles and zeros of h of Z are inside the unit circle, right? So we call all those systems which has the poles and zeros lying inside the unit circle as the minimum phase system. Okay, so I think we can stop the lecture today here, and then we shall proceed in the next lecture. Okay, thank you.